And that is the plan that Senate Republicans must pass to keep our state moving and growing. Not far from here, we have several Republicans who represent Montgomery, Bucks, and Philadelphia in the state Senate. I want everyone here today and everyone who will watch this at home to call on Senate Republicans to use their majority for good, to help the people of Pennsylvania for a change, and pass HB 1364. I'm grateful to have my friend, Representative Steve Malagary, a Lansdale native, here with us today to share this success and to join our call for Senate Republicans to act. Representative Malagary, thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I said good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Representative Steve Malagary. I am a proud Lansdale resident, proud to represent my hometown, and proud to represent the 53rd Legislative District here in Montgomery County since 2018. So before running for this office, I served on the Montgomery County Transportation Authority, and I was also a proud member of Lansdale Borough Council. I want to thank our council members for being here, our members of our staff from Lansdale, along with members of our law enforcement here as well. You see that train moving behind me? That is our economy moving forward. Both those positions that I held afforded me the first-hand look of how essential public transportation is to our community. And each year, more than 1,000 of our seniors, our neighbors, come out to my district office or stop by one of our SEPTA card events around the community looking to get help getting their senior fare cards. Those numbers alone show the vital services that they are. They really rely on SEPTA. They rely on SEPTA to visit friends and to take advantage of cultural events in the city. But the story we hear most often is that they need to get to their doctor's offices. They need to get their medical appointments. These trains are a direct link to essential medical care, and SEPTA is crucial to all aspects of the lives of people who rely on it every single day, and to get to work, to school, to medical appointments, and everywhere in between. Our caucus, the Democratic Caucus, asked people from around the southeast of Pennsylvania to share their personal stories about how SEPTA impacts their lives for the better. The response has been incredible. We've heard from people of all ages and all walks of life, university students and professors, commuting to class, individuals with physical disabilities who can't drive but still have jobs and responsibilities to get to, veterans heading into Philadelphia for care at the VA hospital, workers getting to the jobs that keep tourism and other key industries moving forward. I'd like to share just two stories that really struck me, and this is one from Callista. She's a Montco resident who wrote, I work for 3 local suburban colleges, Bryn Mawr, Haverford, and Swarthmore, running a program of experiential classes in Philadelphia. Our 3 colleges and my program depend on SEPTA because it gets my students into and around Philadelphia for class and activities. Because of their experiences in this program, many of our hardworking, talented young students from around the country and the world decide to stay in Philadelphia after graduation, precisely because it is a vibrant city with a robust public transportation system. Pennsylvania benefits in so many ways when we keep young talent here in our state. I also live where I do because of its proximity to public transit. That is a common thing that a lot of people say in and around this area. And Tammy from Bucks County, not a short distance away from here, wrote, I'm a transition teacher from Bristol Borough School District, providing services for young people with special needs. I started a program that relied on SEPTA several times this school year, including train trips and bus trips around the area. Regional rail is an asset to our program as we can walk to the Bristol station and travel into the city with ease. You can move the name of that town anywhere out of there and place it with Lansdale and North Wales and Ambler and every other town that has a station within their footprint. We recently visited SEPTA headquarters in Philadelphia to obtain reduced fare cards for each student to increase their chances of obtaining employment in their community, as she continued to write. My students specifically are on the spectrum and struggle to navigate their community independently. This program has really opened their eyes to places that they can travel without depending on family and friends. friends. A member of my own staff, Jack Land, who's here with us today, relied on SEPTA to be able to commute to his internship in our office while a student at Temple University. That internship has now turned into a full-time position for Jack, and we are happy to have him. These aren't just anecdotes, they're a clear message. Public transit is not a luxury. It is a lifeline. The people who depend on SEPTA shape our region's economic future success. And if a lack of funding forces SEPTA to cut entire train lines and bus routes, that will mean cutting off independence and opportunity for hundreds of thousands of Pennsylvanians. As public servants, my colleagues and I can't let that happen, and I voted yesterday with fellow members of the House, including plenty of Republicans, who courageously stepped over the proverbial aisle to join us to approve the bill that would properly fund SEPTA and the Commonwealth's other public transit agencies across all 67 counties. Now I'm calling on members of the state Senate to do the same, the Senate Republican majority, because when we support public transportation, we're not just moving people from point A to point B, we're moving Pennsylvania forward. Thank you so much for having me. Let's get this done. Fund public transportation. Thank you, everybody. At this time, I would like to bring up to the podium a colleague of mine in government, Councilwoman Rachel Bolins.
Thank you. Thanks, Rep. Malagary, and thank you to Senator Collett and her team for organizing this very important event. My name is Rachel Bolins. I'm a councilwoman here, and I'm a Lansdale Borough born and raised native. So this specific rail line is near and dear to my heart. I took this to Drexel University as I was a commuter every day, writing reports that I probably should have written the night before, but I wrote them on this train. I also took the 96 bus line to work every day. My family did not have a spare car growing up, and so I relied on public transit within the borough to get around, and to the city as well. So public transit was and continues to be the backbone to access economic opportunity for over 1 million commuters here in Pennsylvania. In addition to the access and economic opportunities that public transit provides, I wanted to mention another topic today. SEPTA also currently leads the state in climate investments with a fleet of all-electric or hybrid buses, utilizing rooftop solar, regenerative energy from braking trains even. Investments in public transit are essential not only to providing access and alleviating traffic congestion, but are also at the forefront of technologies to reduce our carbon footprint and provide cleaner and healthier air for our families. However, while other countries recognize the importance of investment in high-speed rail lines, sophisticated cutting-edge modes of transit, here, for some reason, we struggle to recognize the opportunity to invest in our transit systems. There is much at risk in the budget this year. Our current proposed fare increases are as high as 22%, with 13 regional rail lines at risk. Cutting routes, access, and lines while increasing fares could spiral membership to a new low, further decreasing funding from our transit system from which it may not be able to recover. This could be the beginning of the end, or this could be the beginning of our transit revolution. We don't need to cut lines and increase fares to band-aid our transit for tenuous survival. What we need is dedicated statewide funding and investment. I support Governor Shapiro's funding proposal that passed the State House, and I'm calling on the Senate to prioritize robust funding mechanisms not only for SEPTA, but for all of our statewide transit. Specifically here in Lansdale, on the R5 line and many other lines in the region, our communities were quite literally built and exist because of the trail lines. This stop, built in 1902, is part of our rich history of connectivity and community, and this line continues to serve as a major artery from Montco to Philly, for our local residents who commute to work, to our visitors from Philly who patronize our main streets. This line is part of the lifeblood of our local economy and can hold the key to the future of our revitalization. Funding public transit is the fiscally responsible thing to do to provide access to millions of Pennsylvanians, to mobilize our workforce, to reduce congestion and protect our environment, and to revitalize our main streets. I say let's turn this funding crisis into an opportunity and demand the right investments for our community and the future of public transit in PA. So I thank you all for your advocacy, and I encourage you to keep making noise, a whole bunch of noise, for the Senate. We're lucky to have allies here in Montco, but there are senators that will block this legislation, and we need bipartisan support. So please continue to show up, make noise, and let's get this done. Let's turn this crisis into an opportunity and fund our transit. Thank you. Pass it back.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, Chairman Vince Hughes wanted to join us today, and unfortunately he was had another commitment, but I know that he's here in spirit, supporting this fight, supporting this message, making sure that we are raising our voices, just as Rachel said. So thank you so much, Councilwoman. I am really excited to turn things over now to Transit for All, PA, and Connor Deschmaker is here to make some remarks in support. Thank you, Connor. And I'm sorry, the podium is like set for my height, so I apologize, but we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much, Senator. Really appreciate it. All right, thank you all so much. My name is Connor Deschmaker. I'm the statewide campaign manager for Transit for All PA. We are a statewide movement for fully funded public transportation in all 67 counties. Proud to be here at the invitation of Senator Collett, Rep. Malgary, being here with Lansdale Borough Council Member Bolins, and we'll call it the spirit of Senator Hughes. And so in our campaign, we work in solidarity with riders and workers from Scranton to State College, Erie to Harrisburg, Johnstown to Pottstown, and Philly to Pittsburgh. And that was best exemplified just a couple of weeks ago when we brought over 300 transit riders and workers from all over Pennsylvania, from over a dozen counties, to the state capitol to paper every single legislator to show that this is an issue that cannot be boiled down to something just for Philadelphia, just for Pittsburgh. This is an urban-rural solidarity opportunity. In 2013, this legislature, led by Republicans in both bodies, agreed that we need to fully and sustainably fund public transportation. In 2022, that last measure expired. And now, with federal COVID support running out and permanently changed travel patterns, these are things that it takes time to adjust to, along with rampant inflation that I know we are all experiencing. So we've already enumerated the really heartbreaking cuts that are at stake. I'll add to that Pittsburgh Regional Transit is looking at ending all service, not just rail, but all service at 11 p.m. after they have already cut nearly 40% of service since 2000. Paratransit, that lifeline to our elders and disabled populations, has a $70 million structural deficit, causing our already underfunded small systems to rob their fixed route budgets on the order of $1 million per year in order to just maintain this ADA required service. And I'll also note Lansdale in the Lehigh Valley. That is the only system in the Commonwealth that has not cut service since COVID, and yet still they are facing 20% service cuts and a minimum of a 25% fare increase. This is something that riders and workers cannot abide. The House and Governor proposed the changes that have already been mentioned, and gratefully that first step passed the House in total just yesterday. But we're, I'm here today to push to think big, just like Councilmember Bolins mentioned, like Pennsylvania has done for hundreds of years. We need funding to keep our transit systems running, to reorganize service where needed, recover from operator shortages, and enhance reliable service. Are we tired of hourly service here? Come on, we want more frequency, and this is going in the wrong direction, all right? And some ways that we can do that, we can do things like tax Uber and Lyft, which is not accessible transportation, outside of the Philly area. We can look at discretionary expenses like rental cars to provide new funding. I know that there was a crisis that we might remember just recently, I-95 collapse. We remember that was something that was viewed, nationally as, oh my God, we need to do everything we can to solve this problem immediately. How many people use that every day? How many car trips? 195,000. That's cute. SEPTA moves 800,000 people per day. 4 times as many. Come on, y'all. This is obvious here, all right? And this, we need to act with the same urgency here to fix our funding crisis for public transit everywhere. Again, public transit is in every county with over a dozen agencies providing fixed route service. And we need to repeatedly and conclusively combat the false narrative that people are saying this is just some SEPTA problem, all right? This is all of us. Public transit, as we've mentioned, it eases traffic, lowers pollution, and creates and sustains living wage jobs, including our operators, all right? We need to shout out the BLET workers who operate the regional rail lines, the Smart TD folks that also are on our regional rails, and the TWU workers that are on our buses. And again, transit allows us access to our full selves. The last thing I'll mention is something that I know is on all of our tongues across the aisle. I think people, regardless of partisan affiliation, are going to be celebrating 2026 6. There's things like the NFL Draft, the FIFA World Cup, the Semiquincentennial. There's a TED conference. There's March Madness. There's the PGA Championship. Let me be clear. Without reliable and robust transit, we wouldn't have gotten any of these events, and we never will again. And I want to say that next year, without SEPTA and without PRT in Pittsburgh, who's getting some of those major events, we will be a global embarrassment. Yes. All right? Now is not the time for that. And I'll also note again, getting people to essential jobs. If we talk about these, great partnerships for warehousing and distribution, you want to know the first thing that those developers do when they arrive in a place? They talk to the transit system and ask whether they can get bus service out to those jobs. All right? So this is something that, again, when else are we going to see business and labor at the table here in such a profound way? So I just want to thank you all so much for being here, and I want to get everyone to remember that we are here for transit for all PA. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Connor. I mean, you heard it from Connor. The urgency is now. The time is now. You heard it from Councilwoman Bolins. We have an opportunity here to turn this crisis into the moment for change. And you heard Rep. Malagari. The House has done its job. I call on my colleagues in the Senate to fund transit across Pennsylvania. So when I say transit, you say funding. Transit, funding, transit, funding, transit. Funding. We will not stop until our colleagues on the other side of the aisle see this as the important issue it is across our Commonwealth and make sure that this funding is in the governor's budget this year. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you to every one of you for standing up. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. Thanks, everyone. We are. Anyone?
Question?
I think it's pretty clear. It's self-explanatory, right? Our speakers did a good job of making the case for why transit funding is so critical at this time and across our entire Commonwealth. So thanks, everyone.
Yeah, great.
Let me get my sign.